I ran with that all through my 20s. The minute I conceive a child, I'm done doing drugs, done drinking. And that child's conceived and I'm not done. When she's second trimester, third trimester. When the child is born, I'm going to quit. The child's born, I'm in the bathroom at the hospital shooting dope and DCS is kicking the door in. Okay, I got to stop when the child can crawl. Well, maybe when he can walk. When he can start talking, because now he's going to tell grandma. And when he can climb up high, because I can put my drugs up high. And I kept drawing that line. I crossed it every time.
Welcome to another episode of the Powerless to Powerful Recovery podcast. My name is Jason. I'm an alcoholic and addict. As always, our mission is to share experience, strength, and hope across multiple media platforms, the story of addiction and the road to recovery. We're not affiliated with Alcoholics Anonymous or any other 12-step based organizations or groups in any way. But we're back, Ron. Another episode. Oh my God. And this one's special. What's going on, man? Ronnie, no matter what, here we go. That's excited. That's what you hit me with. You hit me with the here we go.
Here we go.
This is one of our favorite parts. If we could do anything, where would we be and what would we do?
We would be on a beach somewhere recording podcasts 3 times a week.
Oh, yeah. And that's it. And that's all we would do. We would get all of our amazing friends, all the all-stars in the recovery community. But this episode is special to me, dude, for a lot of reasons. Not only is he a personal friend of mine, dear friend, but also Crossroads is here, dude.
Let's go.
And I love fucking Crossroads, dude, and everything that they do. And shout out Chris Riley. We had him. Check out his episode. My service commitments for years over there, dude. They took me in when nobody else would take me in. So Justin Lawson is here. He is the operations manager at Crossroads. He's ran 4 different facilities, and he started out as a client, dude, and that's the best part. Let's welcome Justin to the show. What's going on, man?
Hey, Jason, Ronnie, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
This is special, dude, because I said he's a dear friend. I mean, we know each other.
Yeah.
I mean, just a little bit. But I always like to talk about how we met each other. But before we do that, I want you to talk about Crossroads. I want you to talk about what you do at Crossroads. I want you to talk about who you're looking to help. I want you to talk about where you're at. And I want you to give our listeners all over the world a brief synopsis of Crossroads and how to find you guys.
Man, there's so much I could say. Brief. Crossroads is a substance abuse treatment center for both men and women. We have 9 residential facilities. Yeah, they do. 100 women at one facility and the other 8 are men facilities. We do intensive outpatient where they live on property, go to and from work, still do some groups during the evening. We do psych services. We do MALD services, Suboxone. We work with CBI, do methadone. We just want to change one person's life at a time. That's what we want to do. We're peer driven. So 95% of our staff have gone through Crossroads, and we work on employee development. We offer tuition reimbursement. We like to hire from within and watch people grow, man.
Dude, that's the best part about Crossroads, bro.
I mean, come on.
I love it, dude. And you know what I love doing is hiring people who've worked at Crossroads. That's my favorite part because they use Kipu. Shout out Kipu, right? Kipu. And they work over there, dude. There's a lot of clients, dude. Crossroads is a staple in this community for recovery. I mean, you couldn't say anything more about it. They have hundreds of beds. They're all over. Shout out Midtown, dude. I've been going there Saturday nights, 7 p.m. You want to see a big book study, come to Midtown Saturday nights. Mo's there, the team's there. We just love bringing the fire to those men and for those men that are in need. But I always like to talk about how we know each other, bro. Because we know each other, dude. Like, we were friends, like, partied together, did ecstasy, coke, sold drugs, got in fights, had hangovers together, spent the night at each other's crib. Like, we were friends, bro. Like, really getting down, dude. And a whole group of us, dude. He joined forces with our friend group that we had since first grade, pretty much. I was just on a meeting with Baker this morning.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he's got 13 years sober. Dudley's got 14 years. It's just crazy.
I didn't even know what it was to get sober when they had gotten sober before us. They're 5-6 years ahead of us. I was like, oh, he got sober. He just quit drinking.
Yeah.
Good for him.
No idea how he really did it.
No.
You know, and just to see that examples in all of us, I mean, it's just amazing to see. But we are such friends that, in fact, you're a good friend, bro. You know that, dude? You tried to save me, dude. One night I was at his house, Ron, and we weren't at his house. We were out partying. I can't even remember. We were at Timeout Bar. So we were at Timeout Bar, and this bar, what it was on Wednesday nights, it was open mic, right? It was open mic night. Like, I literally used to get on the open mic and just fucking freestyle some shit. The one time I got on it, dude, and freestyled, when the other dude freestyled to fucking, we were battling each other, I just put a 32-ounce mug down, dude, just chugged it right in his face. I don't even hear you, brother. You know, but it was $10 to get in, 25-cent refills. And I showed up at 3 o'clock, bro. So I've been drinking and, you know, we were partying, doing all the things, and I end up at his house. He's like, come back to my house, just chill. You're fucking too drunk to drive. I had a brand new truck at this time that my dad just co-signed for me. I had a little 4-door Nissan Frontier, and he took the keys. Did you put them on top of the refrigerator?
I thought I hit him well, man. It was time to go to bed, and I knew you couldn't leave, so I thought I hit him well.
Yeah, I want to say I have this vague memory of searching around for him and then being on top of the refrigerator.
Yeah.
I just have that memory. Long story short is I found my keys and then I proceeded to call every female's name in my phone and leave a drunk voicemail. I called my sister. Shout out Aunt Trish. Could you imagine, dude? We're waking up with a 3 a.m. drunken phone call from me trying to hook up with you, you know? Found the keys. And I what happens is I go to Circle K and I buy the drawer shooters are on. You ever seen those little shooters you get on the airplane? Yeah. I bought the whole drawer. I was like, let me get all those. They're literally scattered between houses is what I'm about to say next, dude. I bought the whole drawer of shooters after being too drunk to drive, and all of them were empty in the police report. And then I was driving and I was on Rose Garden. I know where Rose Garden is now, but I didn't even know where that was. When I woke up in the hospital, I didn't even know where Rose Garden was. And it's by Union Hills. In between there is where, I was living in Tempe, I think, at the time, dude.
That's about 2 miles away from where we were at, right?
I don't even know where your house was. I didn't remember where it was, dude. So I only made it 2 miles. Yeah. So there must have been a Circle K real close. I went to that. But long story short, I fall asleep at the wheel, bro. I fall asleep at the wheel. I hit a stop sign, a light pole, a Suburban, and a house, bro. With a car, dude. Took the bed off the car, all 4 wheels, just fell asleep, my foot on the gas pedal, and just turned the wheel, dude. Boom, 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 dude. Woke up, cuffed to the bed. When I woke up cuffed to the bed, the cop came, uncuffed me, wanted me to sign my DUI, and it was in that fake ID I had, Matt McCarty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Matt McCarty, if you're out there, bro, I owe you an amends. You didn't deserve to be treated that way. That was wrong of me. It ends up coming back to me, of course. It was my truck and all the things. And but at this point in time, they just let me go, dude. And so now I got aggravated extreme, hit a house DUI just out there in somebody else's name, but really it's me. And I just go back to getting high, dude. But I was at your house, dude, that night, bro. And you did hide my keys and you talked to me, dude. And you had talked to me so many times, dude. And you ended up, what happens is you move out here and you move next door to one of our friends and we just joined forces and start doing coke and weed and all the things together, dude. But what do you remember from that time period with us, dude?
Man, I thought we were just doing what young kids did. I thought we were just, smoking a little weed, going out, drinking at the bar, maybe do some cocaine on the weekends, some somas that we picked up at Rocky Point real quick. Maybe some Xanax here and there. It wasn't really something out of the ordinary. I noticed that
at that point,
I did it 5 or 6 nights a week as opposed to a lot of other people maybe doing it 1 or 2 nights a week. I didn't really notice how bad I was because I wasn't hanging out with the same people. I'd hang out with different people on different days. Just kind of, I didn't know, but hiding how bad my disease was at that time without really knowing it too.
I mean, and think about him, dude, just like 70 pounds of muscle on him, dude, at this point in time, dude. I mean, just hubbed up, dude. And so, we end up having that whole time period where we're going to get into that when we start talking a little bit more into your story, your experience, strength, and hope. But what's cool about this story is I get out of prison, dude, after doing an 8-year prison sentence, and I go to Crossroads to talk to them about community service and making amends to them and try to pay them for the scholarship that they gave me when nobody else would take me in 2012. It wasn't my time. I didn't get sober, but that's why I do my service commitment there, because they took me in when I had jack shit, dude, and they took me in. But then I go to there, and Justin's there, and I'm like, holy shit, dude, what? Do you remember that day?
Yeah, I was just happened to be there, and like 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock at night, you were there at that meeting with Ron. This is where I met Ron. Somebody wanted to chair a meeting at Crossroads. Got a hold of Ronnie, and man, he did it for a couple of years for that. Much appreciated. It just grows, man.
Dude, it's so cool, dude. Yeah. What's your experience with Justin?
God wears people clothes and how we're all connected, right? So, you played a very, very important role in my transition from prison into society, because right away I got involved in the program, and the home group I was involved in, somebody reached out to me and said, go down to Crossroads. And I went down there with Colin.
Yeah.
And I went down to talk to Colin about doing a meeting there, a regular meeting there. And that's when I met you. And I did that meeting for 2 years. And you allowed me to come there every Tuesday night. And it was an experience that was a huge part. And I tell Chris Riley this all the time. You know, I was never a client at Crossroads, but as a man in recovery, I know that I can go to any crossroads, and I'll know somebody, and they'll welcome me in, they'll give me a cup of coffee, and they'll talk to me, or they'll let me talk to a new guy, or they'll let me drop off some clothes. You know, I don't know what this city would be without Crossroads, and the people like yourself who are products of Crossroads. It's just amazing. Yeah, it is just amazing.
They have the outcomes, dude, because that's
that's
what it's all about, dude. You know, they're turning out other leaders, dude. They're having people find passive recovery.
95% of their workforce was a client.
Yeah, I know, dude. It's amazing.
That's your jam.
I love that, dude. I know. So I shout out JB, right?
He wants to make every client
a staff member, dude. I believe in that so much, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. The peer-driven aspect of it, you can't pay for that at school. You can't get that at school,
dude. And does it work out all the time? Absolutely not, dude. But when it does, that's where Crossroads has that heart, dude, because the staff, dude, were all there and found recovery and believe in it so much that they're even willing to volunteer there because of what they were given, dude, and the program, in their heart, dude, and having a servant heart and doing that. But we didn't always do that. You know, every journey does start somewhere, Ron. We know that. And his journey we're going to get into now. And so you were born in Northern California. Where were you born? What city? Where were you born?
Orville, California.
Okay. So you're born in California, right? And so you lived out there till you're 18. And so we talked a little bit before the show, and I know you, and we had such similar childhoods, high school. We had this pretty much the same experience, just different sport, dude. So, and the same kind of childhood, you know, I would say I had a perfect childhood. I don't recognize very much trauma that I had. I had everything that I could possibly need and want. My parents are still married. They love me. They supported me through it all, dude. You know, and so I want you to talk about your family, childhood, what it was like growing up, and a little bit about high school and just that whole time period and growing up.
Well, high school was good. Played sports in high school, wrestling and baseball. My mom was at all my games, all my practices growing up. My stepdad would coach my baseball teams and stuff, go to my wrestling matches. It was good. I didn't know my father growing up, and he was an alcoholic. And I didn't know my grandfather growing up because he had passed before I was born due to alcoholism. So when I started drinking at 16, 17, my mom knew instantly that I was an alcoholic. And she said, "You drink like an alcoholic." But I didn't know what an alcoholic was because I'd never seen one. There was no drinking inside of my house. So I didn't know at all what an alcoholic was, but she told me I drank like one, and my mom was not an enabler. By the time I was 18, if I wanted to drink that way, she says, "You can move out." I said, "Sweet, let's move out." So I moved out on my own so I could do what I want when I want, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and it's, you know, because this disease does not discriminate, dude. You know, coming from a home where your parents love you, or at all your sporting events and doing all those things. Because in high school, you played baseball. That was your main sport, was baseball, but you also wrestled. And when I found that, I was like, now I know why he was knocking motherfuckers out, dude. All them UFC dudes are fucking wrestlers, dude, in high school. I swear to God, dude. And that's why he's got hands, dude. I'm 0-41, dude. I think one night I might have tested him drunk. I don't know if I can remember. We used to fight each other all the time. And you know what, dude? We had so much fun together. In fact, that I tried to relive it, dude, for fucking another 15 years, bro. Right? That's how much fun that we had together, dude. And so when you talk about high school, when did you start using drugs in high school? It was just weed and alcohol. Weed, alcohol,
just weed and alcohol.
Because you had a thing with pills, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't touch pills, though. The pills were bad for you.
Yeah.
You know, I remember drinking weed and alcohol, then maybe mixing a little bit of cocaine when I got in my early 20s. And people would give me pills, and I'd take those opiates and I'd put them in my pocket and give them away. Whatever. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to put those in my body. I didn't even want to put ibuprofen in my body.
Yeah.
You know, so I thought I was healthy. I didn't think alcohol had anything or weed had any effects on my body, but I was not going to put nothing else in it, you know, until the cocaine.
Yeah, you wrestled in high school. You wrestled. You're a wrestler too. I forgot about that, dude. It just came to be, dude. You wrestled a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah. So you didn't need the taser and the baton, brother?
No, not back then.
That was just for fun?
Yeah.
That was just for fun? Dude, we'd be in a morning. Think about this, dude, okay?
God.
Think about Ron on meth and me on spice and mostly methadone. mixed in with a little bit of heroin, dude, from time to time. Running a fucking 20-man phone room, dude, selling dreams, hopes and aspirations. You know, I believe we both got the prison time that we did because of that.
For sure.
And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with that. Now that it's done, I'm okay with paying that penance to that shit.
Yeah.
Dude, right. But could you imagine, dude, in the morning meeting, I'm literally trying to give a halftime speech at the Super Bowl to get everybody fired up, dude, on a fucking Thursday when they haven't made any money all week. And Ron's behind me with a taser, flipping out a baton because he wants to beat one dude up because he got sideways about a check that he didn't have.
Yeah.
It's Thursday, dude. It's Thursday in the phone room, dude. It's just madness, dude. And so madness for you really doesn't start right away, though, right? And so you go to junior college just like I did, and you play. What position did you play in baseball?
I was playing second base.
Second base. So talk about what that was like going to junior college, playing sports, and just that time period piece.
Well, it was short-lived. It was about 3 months long, and I went to Chico State University up in Northern California, so it's the next town over. That's where all the college kids go to party, you know. Beer, fucking, and fighting. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what it was, you know. And I would show up to baseball practice. I'd be hungover. I wasn't doing any good, and I couldn't make it to school. And I'm still showing up to practice, but I ain't been to school in 2 weeks. And the coach is like,
dude,
you got to go, man. And I didn't think nothing of it. And that was the one thing that I grew up loving more than anything. I wanted to go to a junior college and play sports. That's what I wanted to do. But alcohol was more important. Partying was more important.
Already, dude. And we're not even talking. Alcohol is a hardcore drug, dude. Please, fucking, can we talk about that, dude? That kills more people than anything, dude. Alcohol, dude.
My fiance just went to California, see a family member that drank himself to death. And, you know, I've seen it before. We've all seen the people who drank themselves to death with alcohol. And it's such a slow, painful death for the person, but for the family. So watch that unfold over years, and then it gets to that point of no return. Yeah. It's so devastating. You know, like, you know, I know people, that drink alcohol the way I shot meth. And it is, it's a horrible thing to watch. It's a horrible thing to see, because it's socially acceptable, right? And normal family members don't know any different. And not to their no fault of their own, but to their detriment, they enable them. It's okay. You can have a couple beers at home. Just don't drive the car and get a DUI. And it's just horrible.
Yeah, and it happens quick, dude. If you got that allergic reaction and that mental obsession,
man.
Yeah, dude, you want more, dude. When other people want to go to sleep, you want to get more. We were the ones that were up, pissed off that everybody else wanted to go to bed, dude. We're the ones up, fucking trying to call the Coke dealer at fucking 3 a.m. Well, that was him for a long point in time. I just call him. But that's really what it was all about, dude. And it just happened so quick, dude. And if you don't know and you're not educated about this disease, but the problem is just knowing about it, having self-knowledge. Step 1 talks about that. Just knowing you're an alcoholic, just your mom telling you, hey, you drink like an alcoholic. Okay, cool. And even if you said, okay, let me do a little bit of research. Yeah, that checks out. I am. But not treating it, not doing anything about it, dude, that's the problem, bro.
Yeah, it was like, I won't drink on my birthday because I'll go to jail. I won't drink on Halloween because it's too big of a party. New Year's, not going to drink, but I'll drink every other night of the week, you know? So when I get my adrenaline going on those big holidays, I end up in handcuffs, man.
Yeah.
Definitely not drinking on Cinco de Mayo.
Nope, definitely.
No Cinco de Mayo, man.
Jay.
It's amateur hour, brother. That's what I call those holidays, dude. I don't drive on those days, dude. I tell it's amateur hour, dude. Everybody's drunk, dude. But what ends up happening though is just like me, dude, your dream, that baseball, soccer. I mean, I didn't have a backup plan, bro. I was going to play pro. That was my jam. And then when junior college ended, the dream was gone, dude. And I was lost. And I started working my way in phone rooms. But you went a different route, and you went the construction route, dude. You worked your ass off. And you traveled the country. So now talk about what that was like, working construction, saying, fuck it, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make money. But we know what time it is with the construction workers, brother. You know, Ron tells directions by strip clubs. You believe that shit? He's like, oh, I know where. Whoa, 28th Street? Bourbon Street. I know where that's at.
Yeah, I think that's you, Jay.
Oh, that's me, brother. My wife hates it, dude. But it helps me navigate the city, brother. And we were there a lot of times together, dude.
Yeah, Bourbon Street.
And so talk about, what it was like working construction and just, because it just feeds your addiction.
Yeah, so it was construction. I was 18, 19, 20 years old doing construction. We're going across the United States, Louisiana, Minnesota, Colorado, Texas, and we're doing construction. We're working 12-hour days, and I'm hanging around a bunch of older men too, and then there's some people my age. But what do? We get off work, we grab a 12-pack, we drink, and then we go to the bars all night and drink. Maybe go to the titty bar 3-4 nights a week and blow our money.
Yep.
You know, and that was a continuous thing for 2 years.
Yeah.
I remember one time getting a management position. I became foreman of this company because the foreman got a DUI. And I remember my alcohol, I would be hungover in the morning. I wasn't able to perform my job. So to get back in everyone's good graces, I would tide it back. I wouldn't drink for a couple of nights. Then when everybody was all good and happy with me again, I'd start getting hammered again, having somebody else drive me because I'm too hungover to drive to work in the morning.
Yeah, dude, it just happens so fast.
Dude.
Dude, I know, dude. That's what they do. They fucking work their ass off all day. They drink, then they go to the bar and they go to the titty bar and they blow all their money, dude. I did that for a summer out in New York. Shout out Uncle Tony.
Yeah, well, we also position ourselves. You're around people that are doing the same thing, right? You're young. You're 20 years old. You see the older guys doing it. They're, so it doesn't look like it's wrong. Like you said, you didn't know what an alcoholic looked like. You didn't know what that dysfunction looked like because that was your normal.
Yeah.
That was your normal. And then you get into construction and that's normal for those guys. That's what they're doing.
But at some point you get sick of it. Did you get just sick of it? Because you got out here on a coin flip. So let's talk about that. But what happened? Did you just get sick of it? You're just like, fuck, dude, I got to do something different. Or did you get fired from every crew that you wanted to possibly be on?
No, I stayed with the same crew, but that crew was going under. There was some embezzlement going on or something, and the job came to an end, and they told us we lost our jobs. And I was like, well, I don't want to go back to my hometown. There's nothing there for me.
Yeah.
40,000 people, everyone's an alcoholic, drinks and parties. I don't want to go back there. So I was like, I want to go to either San Diego or Phoenix.
Because you've been around the nation now, so you had some idea of what some different, you're like, I like the banana trees,
I like the banana trees.
And it was all based off nightlife. When we were out in Phoenix was live, man.
Yeah.
San Diego was live. So I was at the airport and I flipped the coin and it landed on heads and we came out to Phoenix not knowing a single person.
And then that's when you move right next door. Shout out Matt Stewart. You moved right next door to my friend. And that's how we become friends. And that's in 2002.
Yep.
So just pick up that time period because you get here, dude. And it's always interesting, right? Because just like prison, just like a new city, right? It all depends on you are who you hang with. Mom and dad were right about that, right? And so it's all about who you're going to click up with now, dude. What are you going to do when you get here? So pick it up for when you get here. You land here and what do you do?
Land here, I got an apartment, no furniture, nothing in it. Slowly built that up. I think my first job was at Lowe's. It's a little construction based. They got some construction stuff in there.
Yeah.
So I was working at Lowe's, and I remember a lot of people in my complex saying, I can't find no marijuana, no weed, no weed. I'm like, why are these people having trouble getting weed? Well, we had worked with a Mexican gentleman out here, and so I called him up, said, hey, can I get a pound of weed?
He's like, who's the Paisa dude on the crew? I got to hit that dude. Oh, you can give me some weed if I can guarantee it, right?
Just started peddling a little bit of weed. I'd done that back home in California too, and that kind of took off, man. We met the guys next door, Matt Stewart. Remember, I got jacked one time, and they showed up with, the two guys I had met showed up with 30 of their friends, and I was like, wow, and I was in. I was like, these are my new friends. Yeah. This is what it's all about.
We showed up ready to rock, dude. We were playing around, dude. We had a crew, dude.
It was a big crew, man.
And so give a snapshot of what we were doing during that time period.
Man, we would sit there and remember me and James Dudley lived together. Shout out James. Right, and we'd have cake parties there every night. We'd be at Rocky Point for 3 days, 4 days in a row, staying up the whole night, come back to town and just start having cake parties, continue it on. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
And that would just be everything. And man, it was weird because I was friends with this group over here and this group, and I didn't know how territorial Phoenix was. Man, if you went to Centennial and you're from Cactus and you're at a keg party, you're fighting. So I'm inviting Centennial friends over to a Cactus party, and there was always a fight, man. It was just, like I said, beer, effing, and fighting, man. It was wild.
You went to Cactus, right?
No.
Jay?
Yeah. So I went to Cactus, and then he linked up with all of us, dude, and we had a crew, and then we went to Cactus, Central, and Cortez was like the main like core group, but he ended up clicking up with like my best friend since first grade, which is James Dudley. They lived together. Yeah. Like that was my best friend, dude. So I remember that my parents had a condo in Rocky Point too, so we were always there, dude. And then we would literally be like, hey, we got to get back and fill the keg for another party. Could you imagine partying fucking 4 or 5 days in Rocky Point straight, coming home to another kegger, dude, and just doing it again? And
James would get up and go to work in the morning
every day, dude, like a savage. Yeah, dude. Shout out to him, dude. He became a hunting guide and started taking people hunting, and that was perfect for him because he wasn't really a people person, dude. He didn't really like to talk to motherfuckers, you know. So that was perfect for my guy, dude. You know, just be quiet, dude, and look at some shit, dude. But it was just a crazy, crazy time period. But what also happens in that time period, when I did my first prison sentence, shout out David Horseman, but he's the one who taught me how to write scripts, dude. And that whole time period started, dude. And we have found a guy who told us, blah, 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 right? But that's really where things change. Just like me, dude. I thought everything we were doing was normal, dude. And it's just what people do. And we party like this. We just like to have more fun than others. But it's fine, dude, right? But then Oxycontins get into the mix, dude. And we start writing scripts. And that's where things change. So talk about Oxycontin, dude, and how that changed your life.
And when I pulled in here, I pulled in right down the street is the bar I used to go to. And I was addicted to cocaine. You know, I drank cocaine every night. I remember doing my first Oxycontin in Tony's Cocktails right down there. And the minute I did that Oxycontin and threw up about 5 times, I never drank or did cocaine again. It took that grip. I thought I would drink for the rest of my life. I thought I would do construction work, come home with a 30-pack in the fridge every day for the rest of my life. I never wanted to drink again. It didn't do nothing. That Oxycontin took over.
Dude, I'm telling you, bro. I tell people all the time, heroin and Oxycontin cured all my other addictions. Because I didn't want to do anything else. I felt so good. I didn't want to do anything else. And B, once the progressiveness kicked in, dude, I didn't have the time or resources to do anything else. No. Every bit went to staying well, dude. You know, and it's just crazy how that was instant with that, dude. But we had means and we had resources and we had connections and we wrote our own scripts. So what it got was really, really bad. So talk about it starting to get really bad for you, dude, in like 05, 06.
It changed my life completely. Instead of going out to the bars and hanging out and socializing with people all the time and everything, I never left my apartment ever again. You know, I was in prison in between 4 walls all the time. Yeah, people would come over and we'd do the pills together and go out and seek them. It was just a whole different thing, and the physical codependency on it. That physical dependency was like nothing I'd ever experienced. You don't even know for 6 months you don't run out until that first time you run out and you're like, oh, wow, this is what dope sick is like. Well, I need to go get some more. I don't know how I'm going to get it, but I'm going to get it. And we always find a way, and it's not always the most moral way to get it, right?
Sure.
Dude, I'm telling you, we always find a way, dude.
Right, then it always that jump to heroin from there, right? Because if we can't get the pills.
And that's what happens, dude. That's the story for so many people, dude. And you know, for me, you know, the Oxycontins and the Percocets and knee injury and burning my. Remember, I jumped into that campfire and burned my whole arm off, dude. Were you there that night at that campfire? We went to that camping trip with Crown King. I jumped into the fire, dude. Burned my whole arm, dude. So I was getting so many pills and we're writing scripts, and then all of a sudden they're hard to get and they're getting real expensive, and the resources and the means are gone. And then what happens is heroin is cheaper and it works the same. I mean, not as good. But it works, dude. And so we make that jump into heroin, dude. And now things really change. Before we jump into that, I got to tell a funny story, though. Ron did heroin, dude. Don't fuck with me, dude. Because this motherfucker... Now, I'm an opiate guy. He's on meth. I know this already, dude. Okay? Now, at one point in time, I'm picking him up in the morning on the way into work. And this motherfucker, Justin, is on a nod in my car.
Oh, wow.
On a nod, okay? And I'm like, bro... What are you doing, dude? Are you fucking around, dude? No. He tries to fucking lie to me, dude. No, I'm fucking doing heroin. I don't fucking mother. Do you remember that?
I do. So why it worked between Jason and myself is I was the go fast guy and he was the slow down guy. But he was on methadone and smoking spice, and I didn't want him to do heroin. I'd give him all the speed in the world. And I would give him, you know, he would eat the speed, and I just didn't want him to get back on heroin because I had this moral compass, because I cared about him so much. I'll give him speed, but I won't give him heroin.
Right.
Right? Yeah. But so I'm staying with this girl. I'm at this girl's house, this young little 20-year-old. I remember.
That was good.
And she's heroin addict. So I'm doing heroin again. I did it a long time ago. And I'm in the car, and the story, so I'm in the car and I'm nodding out. I got my glasses on. And I'm nodding out, and he's asking me, hey, man, are you all right? Hey, what's going on? And I nodded out and smashed my head against the window of the car.
That's what you did.
And he's like, pull the car over. He's like, you tell me what you're doing right now. Where are you getting it? I don't have any. I swear I don't have any, Jay. I'm just tired. I've been up all night having sex with this 20-year-old. He's
the same thing that we always try to play off to our family. I tried to play off to my girl. I got stomach issues. I'm fucking tired all the time. Blah, 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 dude. But the truth is,
sleepy.
I'm physically dependent now to a drug, dude, that's got me by the balls, dude. Yeah. And you want to talk about step one, dude? If anybody has a problem with fucking being powerless and unmanageable and fully conceding to your innermost self, dude, I bowed down to heroin every day of my life, dude. So I definitely have the ability to do it, dude. So don't tell me you can't, because that shit had me, dude. I mean, physically dependent, it's a whole nother ball game. But what also happens is the consequences, dude. So you start picking up prison sentence, dude. So you pick up a prison sentence and you go to DOC for the first time, dude, for 2 years out here, dude. What was that like?
You know, when I first got arrested, it was April Fool's, and I thought it was an April Fool's prank when they came in doing a raid. And I was like, April Fool's on me. Yeah, they came in my house, took me to jail, and I knew I was going to prison. And I'll tell you what, there was a sense of relief when that happened, because I knew where I was at. You know, I had a girlfriend, I had a little hostage, you know, that was staying with me. And that was just a horrible relationship, and I knew where my life wasn't going and where it was at that present time. And when I got arrested and I figured I was going to prison, there's no way out of it, I was relieved. I'm like, all right, I can go to prison. I can get clean in there. And I ended up staying clean in prison for the most part. I have 700 days. I was clean for 650 of them or whatever, you know, in there working out. And all I thought I needed to do when I got out was get a job, get a place, get a car, get a girl, and life will be fine. You know, I haven't used for the better part of 2 years. When I get out, everything's going to be great, man. I'm going to be sober and I'm just going to do my thing. Or maybe I'll drink on the weekends or whatever. Not going to touch those Oxycontins.
Yeah, definitely.
Not going to touch that heroin.
Yeah, not going to do that.
Ain't do that no more.
Dude, his story's so similar to mine, dude. It's not even fucking funny. Yeah. Dude. My first prison sentence, I found push-ups, dude, and thought everything was going to be okay if I just fucking get married, have a child, everything's going to be great. That's all I need to do. I just need to find a girl, get a house, get a car, dude. Everything's going to be great, dude. But I didn't change anything, dude. I didn't learn anything. I didn't do anything different, dude. I just fucking had a better physique, dude. And that was just really the case. And I got released with a whole bunch of goals you don't achieve. They're called, goals you don't achieve are called
good ideas.
Good ideas, dude. And so I had a whole bunch of good ideas. I had a brain fart right there. So thank you for coming through on that.
Gotcha.
But a whole bunch of good ideas that were labeled as goals that I never achieved because I never put any action in, dude. And so that's what happens to you, bro, because you get released with the, you know, you've probably been on the phone with mom and everyone talking about how different you're going to be and all the different things you're going to do. But what happens when you get released?
Oh, mom was past that. She didn't want to hear none of that. I told her that years ago. For 10 years prior, I've been telling her that. No, I ended up going to a halfway house because I didn't have a place to go to. And I didn't end up getting the job. I didn't end up getting a car. And I was probably high in less than 2 weeks.
Quick, dude.
And you couldn't have told me I was going to get, I could have told you I'm never touching those things again. I'm never doing that again.
Right.
No matter what. And within 2 weeks there I was doing it again.
Yeah. And I want to talk about some too, and it's the most difficult part of addiction in my opinion. And that's when children come into the mix, because you come out, you have a child real quick, dude. And you know, I remember, dude, when I came home, because I had my same thing, dude, when I came home this time now, dude, I had a baby within 10 months of being home. I hadn't even been home a year, and I had my other little girl, right? And so I remember, dude, when my wife said she was pregnant, because my wife drinks wine, right? And so I remember telling myself, well, we're going to find out right now, dude, if she's an addict or not. If she stops fucking right now, dude, we're going to find out, because we couldn't. We surely couldn't, dude, even though every bit of us, dude. And that was my transition, dude, into recovery, was realizing that love is an action word, dude. And that my actions were showing that I hate the most important people in my life, dude. And I finally fucking realized that, dude. And that was the biggest change. But I remember we went to the hospital, confirmed a pregnancy, boom, done. Coffee, energy drinks, fucking all of it, dude, stopped immediately, dude. But that wasn't the case for you, and it's the most difficult part. If we can talk a little bit about that, because I think it's important, because so many people go through it, because DCS gets involved, right? And we tell ourselves, we're going to do this shit, we want it. And every bit of us, I'm not denying to any listeners ever, not you, not Ron, not myself. If I asked anybody if you love your mom, your girl, your wife, your dog, your kids, you're going to say yes, even in the midst of the worst run that you're on, dude. And you mean that. You definitely mean that. But because of this obsession and allergy, dude, your actions aren't showing it. So when we feel, because we're not fucking idiots, so when we feel again, we're like, oh shit, dude, I'm a horrible father. I'm fucking that up. My parents fucking hate me. I'm so behind. Blah, blah, blah. Boom, get high again. Don't think, don't feel, don't care, dude. And that's the cycle that we live in, dude. And so you have a baby and you say you're going to do it right, but what ends up happening, dude? And that's the hardest part of all, dude.
So I grew up without knowing my real father, right? He was an alcoholic, but I never knew him. But I yearned for that, right? I always wanted to know who my real dad was, but I never got the opportunity to meet him, and he didn't want to meet me. So what? I deal with it. But I remember telling myself at 16, 17 years old, and it's ironic because I was telling myself, the minute I conceive a kid, I'm going to quit drinking. So I knew alcohol was probably a little bit of a problem. You know, I don't know why I would think that otherwise.
Right.
And I ran with that all through my 20s. The minute I conceive a child, I'm done doing drugs, done drinking. Well, that child's conceived, right, at 9, 10, or what, a month out of prison? And that child's conceived and I'm not done. I'm still using. So I tell myself, okay, well, when she's second trimester, third trimester, when the child is born, I'm going to quit. The child's born, I'm in the bathroom at the hospital shooting dope and DCS is kicking the door in. Then I'm like going through a DCS custody battle and I'm still using, my kid's mom is using, we just can't stop. And I'm telling myself, okay, I got to stop when the child can crawl. Well, maybe when he can walk. And I kept pushing it further and further, baby. When he can start talking, because now he's going to tell grandma, and when he can climb up high, because I can put my drugs up high. And I kept drawing that line. I crossed it every time.
Sure.
For the one thing that I always said I would stop for at 16 years old, I could not stop for that child. There's nothing in me that could get me to stop.
Yeah, dude. And then what that leads into is more guilt, more shame, more embarrassment, dude. So what happens? You go on a sick one, dude. What's that sick one look like?
Well, in 2016, my kid's mom and I, we weren't together. I was doing my thing and she was doing her thing, and she had our son and she overdosed on heroin back then.
Oh, dude. So sorry.
So me now, I have a child who doesn't have a mother. I need to be that father, right? I need to go get sober. I need to be there for that child. That child needs a father. And everything in me wanted to. My heart wanted to. My brain wanted to. But my mentality just would not let me. So I go to Crossroads. And I don't even last 4 days at Crossroads. I'm there to get treatment so I can be in my son's life. And I'm using drugs on property. And they kick me out. And I just go on a tear. I'm not heard of for 2 to 3 more years.
2-3 more years. Then we're talking in and out of jail. You know, Arizona, you come on vacation, leave on probation, come back on a violation, stay for a revocation, whatever it is. I don't know. Right? I mean, that's what happens, sure. Right? And so once you get into that system, dude, and you're on probation, dude, and listen, now we all three of us know how easy probation is. Dude, it's literally like the easiest thing in the world when you're doing the right thing. Like literally, They really want to help you. Dude, I was wrong about my PO, Mark Herman. Dude, he wasn't a dick. I just wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. I shouldn't have blamed him for 2 decades, you know? But what ends up happening though is you lose your rights, you lose your kid, and you're going on a sick one, you're in and out of jail. All these things are happening. You keep violating probation, dude. You're in and out of that probation tank. I ended up staying in that violation D3, and I was in Durango. It was like the violation one, and I wanted to stay in there because all the people came in on drug court and all that shit, and there was a better chance of scoring dope. Dude.
Right.
You know? So I'll stay in the medical pod. You know, be the head. You know, like my cut wood. I'm Italian. It's confusing and super tan. Dude. It's a fucking lot, dude. It's a lot, dude. But white power, you know, it's so dumb. Anyways,
so dumb.
But just for the same reason why I love Crossroads and respect Crossroads, Crossroads gave you a chance through a diversion program, dude, and that's where your life changes, dude. So talk about that moment.
Real quick, a plug for Maricopa County Adult Probation. My probation officer probably enabled me too much, but she was there for me, man. She just hit me up about 6 months ago. I just hit 8 years sober, just got a new position at Crossroads, and she just hit me up on a text, asked me how I was doing.
Oh, man.
It was amazing.
Yeah, they want to help, man.
They
so really
awesome,
do.
Dude. So awesome.
So, yeah, I get kicked out of Crossroads, go on a run. I'm violating probation, going in and out of jail. I can't go to detox. I can't sit down to get into detox. I'm refusing methadone, you know. I'm not going to get on that stuff. I ended up going to jail, and I thought I was really going back to prison.
Yeah.
No big deal. Not worried about it. That's what it is. I knew the consequences. Let's go. I remember a turning point in my life. I remember when I was going to court and I was ready to go back to prison, and I found myself on my knees praying to God. And I wasn't asking God to put my son back in my life. I wasn't asking him not to send me to prison. I wasn't asking for anything, but something had clicked. And I was on my knees in the back of this paddy wagon by myself. And I said, God, help me with this addiction. I am gone. Please help me with this addiction. That's all I want. So he sends me in there, and the judge sends me to reach out.
And you, instead of prison, you get the diversion program.
But it's funny how quickly we forget that what we just asked God for.
Yeah.
I'm back in a pod with 100 dudes at 4th Avenue, and we're just telling stories of who's got the biggest D and these, all this.
Yeah.
And I forgot about what I had asked God for. So it wasn't until I got released and they tell me, I go, where am I going? Because there's multiple places you can go through the Reach Out program. Wonderful program. Mm-hmm. And they say, you're going to Crossroads. I was like, nah, I can't go to Crossroads. They just kicked me out.
They won't let me. Yeah.
So they sent me to Crossroads. Crossroads Red Mountain, man. And that day they pulled me in that office. Because it was only 4 months prior that they kicked me out. They said, look, we don't want nothing. We know what happened last time. I said, look, I'm not going to give you no problems. I just need to do 30 days and I'm out.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
30 days. I'll go to your meetings. I'll do your guys' groups and I'll 30 days and I'm fine. You know what I mean? And I forgot about God and what I had asked him for. I thought maybe I could ask him and he'll just help me and I'll carry on, go get a job, get a girl, get a car and all that. And no. And I did the forging the meeting cards. Didn't need a sponsor. I had a different sponsor signature on every card. And I remember being like 22 days in and some guys had gotten high on property. And I didn't. They knew not to ask me, but I'm not going to judge you or you for getting high because I was just doing that 3 months ago. Well, 2 of them got kicked out. One of them left because he was high, wanted to go get more. I remember sitting there in that next morning going, I'm about to leave in 6 or 7 days. I've done nothing different and I've done nothing several times and it's gotten me nothing. And a fear came over me for the first time, a recognizable fear. Never been scared of anything in my life, really. You know what I mean? But I was scared. And I said, damn. And let me backtrack. I remember I went to treatment in California. My kid's mom went with our kid, and I went in Costa Mesa, California. And I was part of this recovery group out there. And in 90 days, I go to 90 meetings in 90 days. I go to a meeting every day at lunch. I go bowling with them at night. I go to a meeting with them at night. We go out and eat at restaurants at night. I was hanging out with this recovery community. And I thought
you've seen it before, too.
I felt it.
Yeah, you felt it, too.
I felt it because I was in the middle, but I wasn't working the steps. I didn't have a sponsor. I was just hanging out with these guys, feeling a part of, I guess you could say, is what I thought it was. And it was time to come back to Arizona. And the minute that plane landed, 30 minutes later, I was in Sunny Slope shooting heroin, smoking meth, talking about how good it is to be sober. Mm-hmm. I didn't do what they did, so I didn't get what they did. Some of those guys I'm still friends with them now. They got 13, 14 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
but I didn't do what they did. And something like that clicked. And when I was about to get out of Crossroads, I asked to stay longer. I said, can I stay longer? I need to get a sponsor. I need to work the steps. I need to admit that I'm powerless over drugs and alcohol. And there's a lot more, 11 more steps to go after that. I need to get grinding. So I asked to do IOP or asked to be a volunteer.
Yeah.
They said, yeah, you can go volunteer over at Crossroads West. I said, all right, let's go.
Yes.
I get there and I'm like, hey, I'm Justin Lawson here to volunteer. They're like, no, you're an IOP. No. I'm going to volunteer for you guys. So all the volunteers go in IOP. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't have nothing better to plan, man. Yeah. But I got cracking with a sponsor. I got a sponsor and I got cracking through those steps for the first time ever. I turned my life over to God, man. I really did. And it's crazy. And I remember volunteering and there was 9 volunteers. And I was like, man, I'm at the bottom end of this volunteer thing. So I show up an hour, 2 hours early and I'd find out what needs to be done. By the time they come around, there's nothing to be done.
You already did it all.
And I did it all, man. That was my life. And it's not everybody's life. You know, we hire volunteers and some of them are like not committed. And I told a couple, I said, look, man, I don't know where your life is right now, but mine is right here. And this is what I'm doing. I don't expect you to do it, but if you're not, then go, man.
Yeah.
Open it for somebody that wants it. Because I need this. I'm 39 years old. I need this. I need Crossroads right now. It was intense.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'll start crying right now, dude. Because it's Crossroads, dude, has given so many people, dude, a life again, bro. And you're one of the major examples of it, dude. And your progression, dude. Most people know, dude, I've hired a lot of people in Arizona in behavioral health, dude. And I am a firm believer. Shout out Dr. Wynn at Desert Recovery Centers. But I'm such a believer in that because there's a lady, her name's Miss Franz, dude, and she was a substance abuse counselor in prison, and she allowed me to work and run a treatment program at 90 Days Sober, dude. And I'll never forget that. Being shooed into that community, feeling a part of, working in the field, same thing as being a volunteer. Dude, we made 35 cents, bro, and I did that for 3 years, bro. And just being a part of helped my recovery so much. And with Crossroads, dude, that's the secret sauce, dude, is the community, dude. And when they graduate, they still feel a part of because they're there and they are a part of. And being a part of long enough, dude, and doing your part long enough is when that shift happens, dude.
Yeah.
You know, and then when it happens, it's the most beautiful thing to witness in the world, dude. And then if you're somebody who has the privilege like yourself of being a leader and excelling and being able to do all those things, Crossroads gives you that platform. So can you talk a little bit now about the professional just growth, you know, because you started out from the bottom, dude, as a volunteer to now being, you know, operations manager, dude, running multiple facilities. I ask her when I start talking about you, I'm like, where's he at now? Right. I never know which one you're at. It feels like they bring you in to get it all set, to make it run properly, get all the SOPs and P&P in, and then they move you on to the next one. And I mean, your title, operations manager. So, I mean, that's really your jam. So can you talk about what it's been like to get to that position?
It's been nothing short of amazing to be able to come in as a volunteer. They gave me an opportunity to live on property and get some part-time hours. I think I was making $350 every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I was just grateful. I had saved more money in that 2 week period. Like, you know, I had a couple thousand in my bank account off that amount of money. I could sell all the drugs in the world and never have more than $2,000. I really
Me neither, dude. Yeah.
But I was so grateful for that opportunity. And then I got hired on full time. And within a year, I was a program coordinator at Crossroads West.
That fast.
And I'm that's the facility I got kicked out of. One thing I take with me to this day and being a program coordinator is, man, we don't give up on nobody. It took me 22 days to want to make a change. So I don't expect these guys coming into treatment wanting to change their life in the first 5 days. They don't listen to their own mom. They don't listen to their PO. How the hell do I think they're going to listen to me? Right? Yeah. But we love them until they learn to love themselves. And we give them that opportunity to get a clear mind. And we just trying to lead them the way, you know? Being the program coordinator, I was at Crossroads West for a year. Then they sent me to Crossroads Arcadia, where I met Ronnie over there. And that was the federal pretrial. We work with them, people that got federal charges. They come into our care.
Give them an opportunity not to go back to prison, dude.
Man, they get to spend 120 days with us. And you guys know the longer they're in your care, in our care, the better success rate they're going to have. Sure. We like to keep them in residential for 45 to 60 days, keep them in intensive outpatient on property for 60 days, then give them outpatient services for another 6 months. Try to keep them in our care for a year, longer.
Dude, there's never enough time in treatment, dude. The math will never check out. Even prison math, the math will never check out, dude, with the amount of time we spent using versus the time that we can have in recovery or insurance will allow us to have in recovery, dude. But you're right. That's the sauce, dude. It's keep them there as long as you can, dude, till the miracle happens. Then get them involved in the miracle. Then let them witness a miracle. And once they see all those components, then they have their own experience with it, dude. Then they can take it wherever they want to take it and be successful. I've hired probably like 6 guys from Crossroads. I have multiple Crossroads employees. Shout out Jason Benson. I had shout out Robert Daughtery. I had him work for me for a while. I love hiring Crossroads, man. I've hired so many graduates of Midtown, dude. It's not even funny. Shout out to all my guys over there, dude.
Yeah.
I love Crossroads. Anytime we get to have anyone on from Crossroads, dude, it makes me happy, dude, because they do such great things and we volunteer there all the time. And I know that no matter what, at any point in time, I can get somebody into treatment because I have a relationship with you guys, dude.
And it's amazing working with those clients being peer driven and they watch us. There's not a lot that I have to tell these guys what to do. They just watch and they want what you have by attraction rather than promotion. And they see the way you're living and the way you conduct yourself and the way you talk to people and the way you treat people with empathy. And they want that too, you know, and they could ask you how you get there. 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. Yeah. Man.
Yeah. I mean, that's the path, dude. I believe truly that everybody on the planet should work the 12 steps. I mean, what they've given us and it's the path. It's all of our paths. So what's life like today? Share a little bit about your personal life, dude. What's recovery giving you on that side of things?
Recovery has given me so much, man. I've got genuine friendships with people without ulterior motives. They don't want nothing from me. I don't want nothing from them. I've got multiple friends. My wedding, I got married. I have a wonderful wife.
Yeah, shout out to your wife. Dude.
Yeah, Stevie. She's a nurse at the Mayo Clinic. She's in recovery too. She's got about 6 months more than me. It's ironic. She's a nurse and there's some medications missing. So they had to UA everybody. And she tested positive for UA. So she had to do a diversion program.
Yeah.
And 12 Steps to Alcoholics Anonymous led her to God. And that's what it's all about, right?
Dude, that's so awesome.
Married, man, my life is me. I have a passport, bro.
Yeah. I see you traveling, bro.
I got a passport, man.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? I got a passport. Yeah, man, I've got to go on some wonderful adventures with my wife. We went to Fiji. We went to Rome, Florence.
Man.
We went
Dude,
to
I've been
Ireland.
watching him travel, bro.
Yeah,
He's been traveling, dude.
I mean, that's not to brag or boast or anything,
No,
but those are the things that we get to do in recovery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We have poker night at my house. We host people for dinner parties. We just have genuine friendships. We're a part of a church. I don't just go to church on Sundays, go to service and go in, kind of like people just go to a meeting and go in. I'm a member of AA and I'm a member of my church. I'm a member. I know the pastor's name. The pastor knows me. We do small groups on Thursday nights. We're members of church. You know what I mean? And it's great to be able to take that community, what I can learn, and I can learn God's word in that community, and I can take that out and spread it amongst the lost.
Yeah, dude. It's so awesome.
Really. We were lost. I was lost. I had no idea how to connect with God. I could read the Bible, but I had no relationship with God. I didn't understand how to put his words into my action, you know? I had no idea. But 12 Steps of Alcoholics Anonymous helped me develop that relationship with God, that conscious contact with my higher power, who is Jesus Christ.
Dude, you couple those two things together, dude, and it's it creates fire, bro. I mean, and let's be honest, dude, the 12 steps is to bring you to God, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it just, that's what it is.
Trick bag.
Yeah. Like, let's just put it out there, dude. But and it also says, you know, be quick to see where religious people are right, dude. You know, and we want to be a part of, you know, join those things, be a part of those things, be quick to see where they're right, listen to medical professionals, dude, do all those things and combine it together. Because when you do, you have just amazing outcomes, dude.
Yeah.
And this for me is just really, really, really cool, dude.
Yeah.
For what you and I have been through, dude, and the type of life that we live together, dude, for us to be alive and sober, dude. And you're doing this and both working in recovery, man, it's God, dude. And it's just so special to share these moments. And that's why I have this podcast, dude. It's for moments like this with people like you, dude, where we get to share it together, feel it, and just experience it, dude. So if someone wants to get into Crossroads, dude, how can they find you guys? Where do they go? How do they get in? I know you go to corporate, dude. Tell them when to be at corporate. Tell them the easiest way to get in. How early do they have to be there? Because that's what they want to know, dude. How early do I got to be at corporate to get in one of those beds? Because you can share on this, but I just, in my head, I speculate because you got to go to corporate in the morning. They do intakes every single day?
Yeah.
They do intakes every single day, but it's first come, first serve, dude. So you got to get there early, dude. So I want to know what time I got to tell them to get there early. And in my head, I picture there's like 50 people out there trying to get the 5 beds that are open. And they're all sick and dope sick, dude, and reaching out for help. And it's a miracle they even got there. But that's how much need is out there, dude. So what's it like? How do they find you? Where do they get in? What time do they got to be there? How sick do they got to be? Do they got to piss on themselves? I mean,
man.
I know you got to advocate, dude.
Yeah.
You got to have that look in your eye that you're ready, dude, and you'll get in. That
Absolutely.
I know.
We turn nobody away.
Yeah.
The Access insurance, obviously we take that. We take private insurance, but if you don't have insurance, don't sweat it. Get your loved one down there. Get yourself down there. We have SABG grants or SUBG grants. 2002 East Osborne Road, 7 a.m. Doors open at 8. It is first come, first serve, but if you get down there and you show desire, we're going to find a place for
Yes,
you.
you will.
If you need detox, we'll get you to detox. We'll do an assessment on you. And if it's determined that you need detox first, or MAT services, or methadone, Suboxone, we offer Vivitrol, we will get you in.
Yeah, dude, they will get, dude. I had a guy, just one quick story, dude. So I had a friend, you know, shout out to Corey, right? He's trying to get his shit together. He's in Crossroads right now, dude. He's one of my friends who won't care I break his anonymity, right? But he called me. I've helped him get in detox, all the things, dude. And this is what I told him. I said, you show up to Crossroads corporate and you look that intake person in the eye and you tell them you want fucking help.
Yeah.
And if you do that, promise you, I don't even need to make a call for you, dude. I don't need to call Justin. I don't need to call Chris Riley. I don't need to do any of that. I know that if you go down there and have that
100%.
look, you're going to get in, dude. And he called me and he's like, I had that look. I got in, dude. I'm at Arcadia, you know? So you're right, dude. What would it be without Crossroads?
Man,
You know, so
messed up city.
The old bartender at Tony's, she called me up about 5 years ago wanting to get in, and she's 5 years sober now, man. Some people call me all the time. I say, be down there at 7 a.m. I leave it at that. You want to be down there at 7 a.m., call me when you're down there. I don't want to hear stories. Oh, da, da, da. Just show up down there and
just show that. Show that. Just show that action. That's why we say the hardest part is getting into that first meeting, dude. And this is what the same thing like Crossroads is the same thing with a 12-step meeting. You go into any 12-step meeting, and after that meeting, you raise your hand or at a burning desire, and you say, "My name's Jason. I'm an alcoholic, dude. I need some help. Help me, please." You say that, dude, you're going to have 15 men, dude, that are going to come up to you after that meeting, dude, and want to know how they can help you, dude.
Absolutely.
And that's all you need to do, bro. And just listen. Just listen, dude. So, Ron, if they want to get into Desert Recovery Centers, if you're looking to get into Crossroads, Desert Recovery Centers, if you're listening to this and you have that just desperation and you're looking for a way out and you need help and you don't know how to do it, reach out to Desert Recovery Centers, reach out to Crossroads. That's what we do. And we don't have the grants that he has, but I will get you in. I won't stop because I'm going to call Justin. So when I tell you guys, I don't care about anything financially, dude. If you need help, I don't care what level of care, dude, and you just have that desperation, reach out to us because we will not, our 3 emissions guys, myself, we will not stop until we place you. And that's how this thing works. And that's why this community is so strong and we have success. Ron, if they want to find Desert Recovery Centers, where can they find us at?
Well, you can go to our website, desertrecoverycenters.com. We have an amazing website. You can interact. There's a AI Jason, but he actually talks to you on there.
It's pretty cool. So you can go on there and it starts out as me and then it alerts me that I have someone that's talking on there, transcribes the message, and then I'm able to pick up the call and start talking.
The eye.
Yeah, I got a weird generated eye on there. We need to fix that,
but
dude.
That's amazing. So you can get a hold of Jason, Desert Recovery Center, desertrecoverycenters.com, Instagram, Desert Recovery Centers, Powerless to Powerful, Facebook, Jason and Sarah, Ron Alessi. You can message us. TikTok, Ronnie, no matter what. There's so many different ways to connect with us. Please reach out. And, you know, when Jason says that we will do everything to find you help, we have so many amazing people in the community. And that's the whole reason Jason started this podcast, was to bring the community together so that we can use all the resources to help you. So if you're struggling, please reach out. I
mean, that's my goal, dude. I literally want to bring on people that bring help, right? Because we're not the only place that helps people, dude. And if we were, we'd be ashamed, dude. We have amazing partnerships, and to share this moment with you, dog, Justin, dude. I never even called you by your real name. We're not going to go there. Another show, another time. I called him by his nickname. Another show, another time, brother. But just to run back into you, to see you just being leadership at Crossroads, dude, and then watching you travel with your wife and your family, and just dude, it makes me so happy, dude. So I'm just so happy we had this moment. Episodes dropping every other week. If you want to be on the show, reach out to us. If you need help, reach out to us, but tune in. Thank you for all the listeners all over the world. We appreciate you, and tune in to new episodes dropping every other week. Thank you.